So it's time to begin our annual winter or Christmas retreat. And this retreat lasts for a week. It's 6.5 days. And it's the second week-long retreat we have every year. And the other one is summer retreat. The way how I remember speaking about this a couple of months ago, maybe it was autumn retreat when I mentioned this, but maybe it's because of my training in Zen Buddhism, why, in my mind I kind of think about the year in two parts, like two training seasons. And I know that some of you have practiced Zen Buddhism, so you're familiar with the so-called 8-day retreat, Rohatsu Sesshin, it's called in Japanese, which is like the whole year. The first part, the first training season, and the latter training season aims to that 8-day retreat. Which is the reason why it is so in the Buddhist tradition and Zen Buddhism is because it's like in celebration of Shakyamuni Buddha's awakening and enlightenment. So he is said to have, it depends actually, there are different versions in different traditions of this, but in Zen Buddhism they say that he meditated for 8 days and 8 nights, or 7 days and 7 nights, and on the day of 8th morning he attained enlightenment. So that's where the 8-day retreats, Rohatsu retreats, come in Zen tradition. And it is, like I said, it is like the how to say, pinnacle of year's training. So like the most important of them, and it's definitely also most intensive. Oh, it's so intensive in Zen Buddhism that I wouldn't want to do it anymore. Now it's the last days of 2023, and it's soon 21 years when I started practicing in Zen Buddhism in January 2003. And well, I was how many years? 21 years younger, so completely different vitality and energy that I have today in terms of health and vitality. When you're 25, you can do anything. You can party for 3 days without sleeping and still show up for work. So, but I wouldn't want to do that anymore. Retreats like that, waking up 2:30 at night and start practicing and go to bed like 10 p.m. On these Rohatsu retreats. So I wouldn't want to do that anymore. But this Christmas retreat or winter retreat, I kind of view it in the same way. That it's the second of these long retreats we have in Amrita Mandala every year. And in that sense, all the training that we do during the autumn, this autumn we've had weekly or bi-weekly satsangs I've taught, and also we've had weekend retreats and autumn retreats every month. And of course, my personal daily practice and your personal daily practice. And it is, it's been many years since when we've had these summer and winter retreats. So, we've had the same, or pretty much the same retreat schedule, yearly retreat schedule for many years, and it kind of leaves an imprint. It gives you a certain rhythm, gives you a rhythm, And rhythm is very important. That's actually an interesting topic. Rhythm and Dharma. So when we've had these week-long retreats, and I have to say that summer retreats and winter retreats, they are different. There's a different feel. Well, the weather is different, but that's not the only difference between those two. But usually these winter Christmas retreats are, well, all our retreats, there are lots of blessings involved, lots of blessings to absorb, blessings from our gurus, Mahasiddha gurus, immortals, lots of charges we get from deity practices, and lots of energy that comes about when we recognize and cultivate our own pure nature. So, I think it is fair to say that our retreats are quite intense, no matter if it's a 2-day retreat in September, or spring retreat in April, or Christmas retreat in December. But what am I trying to say? Christmas retreat has a special flavor to it, and it's been like that every year. I remember it was maybe 2-3 years ago. It was probably the first Christmas retreat online only during the COVID times, and I remember that it was just relentless from beginning to end, in the sense that every day there was 1 or 2 Mahasiddha gurus kind of rushing in and just flooding the whole group with their Shakti, with their energy and blessings. Like every day, it was there was no breaks at all. It was like if I use an analogy, opening a tap of water or a shower and just keeping it on full for a week. So this was maybe 3 years ago, something like that. And it is, well, maybe, I don't know how this retreat will turn out. So that was unique a few years ago, that retreat, but it is always like that. In this Amrita Mandala lineage of retreats, that there are very strong charges to tune in, to receive, and to absorb. And I'm sure this retreat won't be any different. So we have 14-15 people practicing for this week, and most of you are steady, seasoned, hopefully not spoiled Sangha members, seasoned. So practices are already very familiar to you. For a few years now, at least for a few years, maybe even longer, my way of teaching has been, how should I say, I wouldn't want to say informal, but kind of casual. Casual is also not the word. It's my way of teaching has been, well, there are 3 different perspectives into tantric practice. This is classification from Buddhist Tantra. So there is the external level, internal level, and secret level. or external, internal and secret perspectives into tantric practice. And what it means is that external means that we are practicing something, doing something, chanting mantras, doing breath work, mudras, visualizations, doing something, practicing a technique, which leads to external, leads to internal experience. And that means that we have tuned in and we are feeling the energy that follows the practice. We are feeling it, taking it into our bodies, hearts, minds, and really marinating in the blessings. External, internal, and the third one, internal, leads to, it's called secret in Buddhism. What is secret? But it's totally an open secret. So secret means it leads to recognition of ourselves as fully enlightened beings, or Buddhas, Mahasiddhas, our immortal nature. So secret, Buddhists like to use that word, don't they? And this week we've been talking with Kaisa, with Rani, about how in Taoist scriptures, how they purposefully use this code language and secretive terms in their texts so that they can't be understood by people who are not part of their tradition. It's same applies to many Vajrayana texts, that it's secretive, it's like code language. When speaking of texts written by Indian Mahasiddhas, they speak of twilight language. So it can be understood by folks outside the tradition, and definitely not can be understood by people who are not practitioners. Where was I going to? I started speaking about this twilight language thing, and what was I speaking about? Oh, secret. So, but our basic nature is totally an open secret. But it's not only open. It's not only just open and available to anybody. Lots of people think that way, that no need for gurus, no need for tantra, no need for empowerments, no need for transmissions, and sometimes some people say that there's not even need for practices or experiences, awakening experiences in particular, that all these things are dispensable. But this is usually, there was just last week, there was a brief discussion, I think it was on my Facebook profile. I think Ben was there. We were speaking about non-dualistic traditions. Well, I shouldn't really even speak of traditions, because these people have separated from the tradition a few generations back. But it's kind of like a non-dualistic or Advaita type of thing that is very popular nowadays in the world. Lots of clicks, lots of likes, lots of shares. That's what popular means nowadays, isn't it? But often there is that view among those folks. And this is, by the way, it's not a new phenomena. This, it's called Neo-Advaita or Neo-Non-Dualism. It's been around for ages. There are, I remember Zen Master Hakuin speaking about this in his writings. Hakuin lived about 500 years ago in Japan. I think I remember some, I wish I could remember exactly, but some Indian like yogic or dharma authorities speaking about the same problem, that there are these folks going around saying that no practices, no techniques, no awakening and no enlightenment is necessary because we already have pure and perfect nature. But that's what I'm trying to say, that it's not readily available to everybody. It is not. If it was, the world, the world society would have been very different for ages already. But it isn't. It is a world of clashing and conflicts on all levels, isn't it? But if it was the case, if it was the living reality that this pure and perfect nature of ours was already experienced, living experience, we would be looking at a very different world, wouldn't we? But it is an open secret, meaning that we, each one of us and every human being, has this pure and perfect nature, but it is hidden from us. It is secret from us. And it is Dharma, teachings of Dharma, different teachings that I could say have the purpose of revealing that pure and perfect nature to ourselves. Up until 2.5 years ago, roughly, emphasis of my teachings was focused on the so-called wisdom and clarity side there is to enlightenment. And that's why we have two different methods in Amrita Mandala, two different paths. And so I was focused until 2.5 years ago, I was focused on the path of wisdom and clarity. You could say that it's Buddhist tantric practice, using practice with Buddhist gurus, him mainly, Guru Padmasambhava, and also practicing, like I said, Buddhist deities through rainbow body yoga. And then for the past 2+ years, my work has been focused on figuring out what more there is to enlightenment on top of wisdom through emptiness, or wisdom through clearing up bhumis, the 13 bhumis and 10 bhumis in particular. So I've been given practices and teachings based on my own experience and according to how I've been taught and transmitted by my gurus, Hindu masters. So it is like there's many things we can talk, and I'm, feel free to, if you have questions and comments about practice, you're welcome to ask. And I would actually like us to have like a daily discussions about different things. We had daily discussions on autumn retreat, and that was really lovely, because we need to somehow, we're doing this online, but we somehow need to fill the gap of communication. So let's have discussions every day. But what was I gonna say? So yeah, there are all these practices that we do in tantric yoga, in yoga tantra. All these practices, techniques, tools, pretty wide collection of different types of tools. Guru yoga mainly. That's common to all tantric lineages. I would say that if Guru yoga is not part of some lineage's teachings, then this is not an authentic lineage. There needs to be Guru yoga, and that Guru needs who's meditated on and invited to give us blessings needs to be a Mahasiddha. Needs to be. If it's not, then the lineage is not authentic. So Guru yoga, deity practices, and deity practices that need to be received through empowerments. Sometimes also on our retreats, we do deity practices, but not everybody has empowerment for it, which is fine. I allow it. But having said that, deities need to be learned through empowerment. This is necessary. Guru yoga, not necessarily. I also give Guru yoga empowerments, but it is not necessity because gurus are masters. So they are, when somebody attains wisdom stage and perhaps light body, the second stage, full stage of complete enlightenment, then that person's, how to say, that master remains available regardless of distance in space and time. Okay? So Guru Yoga doesn't necessarily need an empowerment because that master is always available to anybody who invites their blessings. But Guru Yoga, Deity Yoga, and then of course what is really the bread and butter of Yoga Tantra practice is working on the subtle body or bodies, because there's more than one of those. And in my present understanding, as I'm sure you all have heard me explain this, there are two different subtle bodies. So there is the one made of subtler, like lighter channels called nadis. Nadi is a Sanskrit word which means like a tube, line. And then there's the other nadis, they are inside the physical body and also outside of it, creating the aura, the auric field. And also nadis go up and down to the space beyond the physical body to 5-6 meters down from the pelvic floor and 5-6 meters up from the ground. So that's one type of subtle body made of nadis, and in Amrita Mandala we use the so-called 13 Bhumi model to map this subtle body. So this is the body that we're working with, the path of wisdom and clarity. That's when Buddhism speaks of emptiness meditation or vipassana meditation. That's the terrain. That's the field to work with through wisdom practices. And then there's the other subtle body that I call meridian field. I call it meridian field because that's what Babaji call it. So meridians I don't actually remember the original Chinese word that is translated as a meridian in English, but meridians, as you might know, is discussed in traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Chinese arts. But my view of the meridian field is very different, I would say, from how it is presented in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. So, we practice with Buddhist gurus and Buddhist deities when we want to address the nadi field, and we practice with Hindu gurus and Hindu deities that I've received from Agastya and Babaji when we want to address and work with the meridian field. Meridian field doesn't expand outside the body, it is only inside the body, only in the space inside the physical body, and it's very close with the physical tissue. And by the way, when we speak of these two subtle bodies relating to two different paths of practice we have in Amrita Mandala, it is through the gurus and through the deities and how they energetically vibrate, how we become aware and access either of those subtle bodies. It is because of the energetic design in energy, designed in vibration, how either of those and both are accessed and addressed. This is interesting. It's a very interesting thing. Such technical, myself being kind of like an engineer or a mechanic by nature, these technical things to me are fascinating. How traditions are designed and why. Very interesting things. And it is these kind of technical points that are necessary for us to understand, so that we can really not only momentarily recognize or momentarily glimpse, but that we can truly establish that openly secret, pure and perfect nature of ours. Technical details are necessary. Our physical body, I don't know much about the physical body. I have a very good teacher and mentor of mine, John Lewis, who was my shiatsu teacher, my shiatsu master, I would say. He once made a joke when we had a shiatsu course and somebody asked something about anatomy of the physical body, and he blurted out, he makes jokes all the time, he said that, "I'm an oriental healer, I don't do anatomy." So, but myself also, I have completely neglected my study of physical anatomy. I can barely remember which organs are inside my chest. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the physical body is quite complex. If we think of all the things that are circulating under our skin, it's quite complex, isn't it? There are principles and laws how it needs to work in order to keep the whole thing going, but it's quite complex, isn't it? There are all kinds of electrical signals and all kinds of fluids going here and there, and quite complex. So if we wanted to master the physical body, we would have to understand so much about the body, so much about, of course, it's medicine that studies the body and biology and all that. We would have to know so much about it. And I'm using this as an analogy for the subtle body. There are tens of thousands of nadis creating the aura. Tens of thousands of them. And then there is the central beam consisting of a thick bundle of channels. And there are energy centers everywhere. There are, there are centers in the body that always remain pure, and there are centers that store karmas, store imprints. And then there's the whole meridian system, which is actually quite simple. It's just that the whole body space is full of these. Nadis are very thin, and even though they are very thin, I mean, it's like hair thickness, hair, how thick nadis are. But even then, even though it's so thin, they have layers. You can split it into 4 layers, one nadi, but there are 2 main ones. The inner core of a nadi is pure, and the outer shield, outer core of the nadi that's where the stuff in the nadis get stored. The meridian system, well, I said that it's simpler, but it's actually also, it's simpler in the sense that it's just that the whole body space is full of these meridian channels. And meridians are much thicker. They are like that thick. It's maybe 0.7, 0.8 centimeters thick. Whole body full of them, and not extending outside the skin. Yeah, not extending outside of it, except the energetical radiance of it a little bit, like 1 centimeter above the skin. But there are no meridian channels like sticking out from the skin. So we need very specific tools and information and knowledges to work with this whole thing. And this is, of course, the reason why in ancient times Tantra came to be. Tantra with Guru Yoga, with Deity Yoga, with understandings and practices of the subtle body. And this is what Tantra is. That's the tantric method, these technical details, understanding exactly what is what. And my style of teaching Tantra is, it's very practical in the sense. I'm not a poet, so I can't really even if I try to write in Twilight language or in coded language, well, I have done it sometimes a little bit, but it's not really my nature to do that, because I'm a mechanic, I'm an engineer by nature. So it is, I like to explain things and I like to understand things. I spent so many, I wrote a little post about this today in Facebook, and I remember when I started in established old tradition that is said to have started with Shakyamuni Buddha, I would say I wasted a number of years in such a teaching, where there is not enough technical understanding and not enough tools for different things, for different weathers should I say. Not enough understanding. And often in teachings like that, it is the tradition tries to replace not having enough tools and understanding, technical understanding, tries to replace that with faith, or what is that word? Commitment and effort. Practice harder. You're not practicing hard enough, so you need to practice more, and you need to you need to renounce something, get rid of some things in your life, and that will solve it. Then you will have fruits of the practice. But no, it doesn't work like that. It's kind of like if you have problems with your physical organ, of course, we have basic understanding through biology and medicine that it needs to be fixed one way or the other. And it is not helpful if you have a kidney problem. It is not helpful to try to replace the medical procedures and medicines that your kidney needs with other stuff, with doing some other project, or you just don't fix your kidneys like that, right? Or if you have your car breaks down, you need to take it to the mechanic or learn to fix the car yourself, right? Through understanding what is going on in the engine. It is not helpful to start doing something else. So this is I'm talking about diagnosis of problems for morons, right? So we need to understand what the problem is and then address and fix that problem. The exact same principle applies to Dharma practice, yoga practice, tantric practice. And of course, faith and devotion is a very important part of what we do. But you don't replace like a toolbox of very important tools and very precious knowledge with faith alone. So this is how we roll. So we have only 2-hour session this evening. By the way, let me know if there is some problem with my video connection or audio. It's been now a little over 3 months that we've lived here in the new house in Slovenia, and I'm still testing different technical things with the internet connection. So just let me know if there are some problems. So we have 2 hours this evening. 2 hours is really too short. It should be 3. But we will keep it 2 this evening. And then from tomorrow onwards until next Tuesday, our schedule is from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. Slovenian time every day. And then, as you know, we will have 1 hour or hour and a half meal break every day. It is a good energy, isn't it? It's like it actually reminds me of those videos from NASA where you have a rocket on a launching platform, like a few minutes before the launch takes place. That kind of energy. It's very good. So let's just start practicing. Let's get this retreat rolling. And we'll just take each session how they come. Those of you who are new for our way of practice, I already mentioned that there will be definitely blessings and energies, charges involved, but there will also be resting periods, because the charges will be quite heavy, quite strong current, and we need to balance it, we need to pace it with taking brief periods of rest lying down. So you can use your bed or couch or yoga mat and a blanket on the floor for those brief resting periods. But let's start practicing. Some of you are already have eyes closed. Always our heart and head, heart surrendered, heart offered, our whole being offered. At the feet of refuge jewels. To speak about, well, taking refuge is an ancient concept in spirituality long before Buddhism came to existence. But just like Buddhism made a thing out of bodhicitta and other things, it also made a thing about the so-called refuge jewels. And in Amrita Mandala there are 5 refuge jewels. The first one, always number 1, is Guru. And of course we have, as you know, we have the Mahasiddha family, like a group of 50 or so Mahasiddhas who are backing up our mission energetically with their presence, with their blessings. But there's a number of the most important gurus, both from Buddhist side and Hindu side, relating to our practices, relating to those 2 paths. So taking refuge in Guru Padmasambhava, and Agastya mainly. That's the first refuge. Taking refuge in the Guru. Surrendering oneself, offering yourself at the feet of Guru Padmasambhava and Agastya. So that Guru is always number 1 when it comes to refuge in Tantra. In Sutra it is just the 3, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. But in Tantra it's different because everything relies on Guru. Guru is like a mother who feeds the baby or feeds her children, gives nourishment, which is what keeps the child alive. Also, Guru is like a mother who keeps her children safe, guarded in a safe place, gives refuge. And also, Guru is like a mother who disciplines the child. Disciplines. We all have been children, and we know that this is a necessary thing for the mother to do. So offering yourself to Guru or Gurus. Next one, the second refuge jewel, is taking refuge in pure land, and not just any pure land, but the pure land of Guru Padmasambhava. Or you can take refuge in Agastya's pure land. Pure land means like the ashram or a dwelling place where the Guru, Padmasambhava or Agastya, where they are. Dwelling place, ashram, safe place, safe haven. Taking refuge in the pure lands of our Gurus. For the purpose that if our time runs out and we pass away before we attain enlightenment, either of the two main stages. So the pure land is there. We take refuge in the pure land of Padmasambhava and or Agastya so that we can continue our practice there after we pass away and finish our practice there, attain enlightenment there. And this is very important, that we can finish our practice in such a, like an ashram. We have ashrams and residential training centers here in the physical world with the same purpose. Very conducive places to practice, easy places to practice, because there is so much pure energy, Shakti there to support us, and company of other practitioners and teachers and gurus. There is also a promise. We have formal refuge in Amrita Mandala, and those of you who have taken it know that there is a special promise from Guru Rinpoche related to his Pure Land. So lovely, beautiful energies coming from Pemako, Guru Rinpoche's Pure Land, commonly known as Copper-Colored Mountain, or Zangdok Palri in Tibetan, as well as Agastya's Pure Land. Ooh, beautiful, isn't it? Feel. And the third refuge in Amrita Mandala is the refuge to Buddha, which can mean the idea of Buddha, awakened ones, enlightened ones, but more specifically, as we're talking about a tantric lineage of ours, it's taking refuge to our own pure nature. Already pure, already perfect, awakened nature. We all have that. No matter what you think, no matter what your opinions are on the level of thought, no matter what struggles and drama and poison you have in your mind, there is a Buddha, perfectly awake being in you. We can sabotage ourselves on the level of thought, but on the level of pure and perfect being, our sabotage cannot reach. So taking refuge to Buddha, in Buddha. Such a good smell coming from the kitchen, isn't it? Figuratively speaking. Offering all that mental and emotional struggle and pain and tumult at the feet of this refuge, at the feet of the Guru, at the doorway of our Guru's pure lands, at the feet, at the front, at the presence of our own already pure and perfect nature. Show your pain, show your struggles to this pure and perfect nature. Show it, reveal it. Don't hold on to it. Light a lamp at the storage room that is full of old dirty stuff, and let the light shine on that old dirty stuff. Relax, surrender, offer yourself. You can ask help from the Buddha within, from the Guru. You can invite blessings, ask help from Pure Lands. You can talk to the Buddha within. You can call it with the word that you prefer to. Pure and perfect nature of ours. Maybe you want to talk to your soul or for your pure heart. Maybe you want to talk, address it as a God. Or a Buddha. Or Christ within. What matters most is not the words you use, but the way how you communicate. Using words or saying prayers is very helpful, but external, internal secret. Prayers, words is external to make the internal energy happen, for the secret to reveal itself. Based on my experience through practicing tantric yoga for quite a bit, as well as through praying to God, I understand perfectly, I need to say first, if some of you get the hair at the back of your neck stands out when I say the word God, but I'm not talking about the God of Christians. I'm not talking about the Christian definition of God. But my experience is that this pure and perfect nature is a synonym for God, is a synonym for Christ, is a synonym for Buddha nature. Something completely pure and perfect inside us. And this is where I was speaking about to do the two different layers of nadis. The two different layers are in meridians also. When we practice, whatever the practice may be, here it is taking refuge, our energy shifts, or there is a shift from the dirty karmic side of channels to pure core of them. That's why you are so, I can see from you and feel from you that you feel so charged, so blessed, charged with blessings. The fourth refuge in Amrita Mandala is Dharma. Dharma means teachings, instructions, practices, offering ourselves, our body, our mind, our energy, our whole being to Dharma. Teachings, instructions, practices. Teachings in the scriptures, oral teachings of our teachers or teacher, oral teachings of our guru or gurus. The most important form of teaching in Tantra is transmissions and empowerments. Empowerments and transmissions are slightly different, but both have to do, the most important thing about both is strong energetic charge that is pure. It is also from our teachers and gurus that we learn practices and learn the view the theory. Sometimes in sacred art they show deities and gurus with books, with actual books. Sometimes they hold vases or different types of pots, P-O-T, pot. And these are, well, book is pretty obvious symbol. It's not really a symbol, but like a pot or a vase. This is a symbol for, like a container for Dharma. Container of teachings. So taking refuge in Dharma, which is the Dharma of fully enlightened gurus, which is fascinating and incredible. But there are these Mahasiddhas from so many traditions, not only Buddhism, not only Hinduism, not only Christianity, not only Taoism, but all of them. And they have all realized the wisdom body and many of them the light body. Wisdom body, the pure subtle body made of nadis. Light body means together with the wisdom body, purified meridian system. Teachings of tantric masters lead the student to that. This is a responsibility that tantric gurus have, that the teachings are correct and that it actually leads to full enlightenment or light body of the student within one lifetime. Assuming that there is reasonable time for that. For practice and result. The fifth refuge in Amrita Mandala is to offer ourselves for the Sangha. Community of authentic Dharma. Community of those who take refuge with us. Community or Sangha of those who teach us. Community of those who are masters of the lineage. And once again, in Amrita Mandala, there's a very special congregation of Mahasiddhas called Mahasiddha family. About 50 masters from Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Christianity. Taking refuge in the Sangha, in the company of enlightened ones, awakened ones. So these are the 5 refuge jewels in Amrita Mandala. It is a very interesting way what refuge means and what it actually does. In a same or similar way how people pray to God in Christianity, it doesn't really matter what their view of God is, but in a similar way we can pray to refuge and we can communicate, relate to refuge. These 5 jewels are presentations, emanations, embodiments of the pure and perfect nature of our own and that all beings have. They are presentations of that. They are presentations of pure and perfect nature of all beings. And that nature, just like each one of us, is intelligent. It is not passive. It is intelligent. Which is just another way of saying that we are intelligent, isn't it? We have mental functions and emotional functions. Communicate with the refuge. Communicate with it, and you understand that it is very active, these refuge jewels. We can thank for the positive things that we have in our lives. We can thank the refuge for them. We can thank of them as blessings. Whether it's whatever it is that we're thankful for in our lives. Everybody here is a practitioner, which means that you probably have enough food to eat, you have a house to live in, and even if you think that you are very poor, you could be much poorer. So we have basic necessities. We have enough money, food, shelter, place to live in that we can practice. And these basic necessities we need to have to practice. If we were starving, difficult to practice. If we didn't have a shelter or a home, again, quite difficult. And so on. So we should thank the refuge for these things. But also, if you have problems, struggles, pains, difficulties, obstructions, hardships, whatever they might be, problems with your father or mother or cousin or boss, problems with money, problems with health, ask for help for these things from Refuge. Offer yourself. Pure and perfect nature is intelligent and it is compassionate. Gladly showers us with that positive energy to change our condition, to change our karma. Gladly floods us with pure grace, pure grace. From the perspective of practice, yoga practice, dharma practice, tantra practice, it is about wisdom and it is about healing. Transforming delusion, self-based delusion, into timeless wisdom. And healing our traumas so that the so-called light body is revealed. From the perspective of our yogic practice, that's the meaning of refuge. But practice is related to so many other things, isn't it? It's related to basic necessities that I listed. It's related to health. It's related to family relationships, work, income. It's like a ripple effect. It goes on and on and on. Our practice is not only the stuff we do when we sit eyes closed. Everything is practice. Everything is related to practice because everything is related, connected. So we take refuge in these 5 jewels so that we can heal ourselves and also remove our self-based delusion so that we can attain the twofold enlightenment of wisdom and light body during the span of this physical life, or what's better, as soon as possible, for the sake of all beings, for the sake of all sentient beings. That's also a ripple effect. One thing related and affecting the other that affects the other and has an effect on the other. Cause and effect of samsaric existence, cause and effect of dharma practice. Everything is connected. Practicing for the sake of enlightenment, to benefit all beings, for the liberation, for the freedom of all sentient beings, and even insentient beings. A bug on the grass in nature is insentient. It doesn't think about stuff. While other beings have more evolved, more complex minds or psyches to be able to think about things and feel things emotionally. For all life we are practicing, for all life forms. Physical, non-physical, doesn't matter. Everybody included, everybody on board. This is the boat of Mahayana, the ship of Mahayana. Taking and welcoming everybody on board and making sure that nobody is left out. Making sure. This is Mahayana, this is compassion, bodhicitta. True love, true caring. And taking care of little things in our daily life also. Little details. For the sake of all beings. Always when there are whatever practice that we do, whatever prayers or commentaries that I give, there is an energetic element to it. You don't need to grasp this energy, don't need to take hold of it, rather relax and it automatically comes in and sinks in to the tissues of your body and your subtle bodies. Just relax. Take it in. Surrender. When it's a sunny summer day and we go outside to take sun, to sunbathe, we don't try to grasp the light or warmth of the sun. We simply don't do that. We only make ourselves available for the sun. Same thing with blessings. You just relax and enjoy. No need to do anything else. Relax and enjoy. What you can do is that if there is some illness in your body, in a place, in a location in the body, or locations in the body, or if you know where your trauma knots are in the meridian field, or if you are working with a certain layer of bhumis, what you can do is that you place your attention to that area and you take refuge in the 5 jewels that are inside that area. Take refuge in the 5 jewels inside in that area. If it's a bad kidney, if it's a trauma knot in your chest, if it's whatever bumi layer. Again, understanding, knowing some technical details is extremely helpful. Directly addressing the problem, directly fixing the problem. Directly healing our hurts. All right, let's chant Bodhisattva vows and basic prayers. I vow to liberate all sentient beings. I vow to end all self-based confusion. I vow to exercise the Dharma that frees. I vow to attain the great perfection. I vow to liberate all sentient beings. I vow to end all self-based confusion. I vow to exercise Dharma that frees. I vow to attain the great perfection. I vow to liberate all sentient beings. I vow to end all self-based confusion. I vow to exercise the Dharma that frees. I vow to attain the great perfection. Whatever the practice is, here Bodhisattva vows, feel the energy afterwards. Let the warmth and light of the sun into your body. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. switching from relative to absolute, changing perspective. I am the Guru, I'm in the Pure Land, I am the Buddha, I am the Dharma, I am the Sangha, I am the Guru, I'm in the Pure Land, I am the Buddha, I am the Dharma, I am the Sangha, I am the Guru, I'm in the Pure Land, I am the Buddha, I am the Dharma, I am the Sangha. Then again from absolute to relative. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. Again, absolute. All beings are free. All beings are free. All beings are free. And dedication of merit. May all beings receive my accumulated merit. I dedicate the merit to the refuge and to all sentient beings. Palm to palm.